with so many inspiring people when it comes to community gardening. For me personally, the person I always look up to is a lady called Sarah Venn. This week, we're off to Bristol.
My name is Sarah Venn and I run an organisation called Edible Bristol. Edible Bristol is an organisation that runs across the city of Bristol. We're here at Cultivation Place, which is in a part of Bristol called Speedwell, and this is really our learning and space where we do workshops and events and courses, but we also have 3 other gardens that we run. We support communities across the city to garden in sort of lost and unloved spaces. By community, what we mean is pretty much anybody. Community can be geographical, it can be faith-based, it can be minority-based, it can be sexuality-based, it can be business, it can be a charitable organisation, and whoever it is, they get in touch with us and they say, we've got an idea for a garden, and we go along and we support them to make that dream a reality. We don't do it for them, we do it with them, and most of what we do is support the really boring bit before the actual garden. So we help them with community consultation, co-design, all of that kind of stuff, so that we know that when we inevitably leave to go on to the next project, it's a sustainable project that is running and is firmly seated in the community that it's within. Education at Edible Bristol is kind of one of our core things. We know that in order to gain education in horticulture, you can quite often need quite a lot of money to access things. They're quite often not run in every community. For example, here, one place runs the RHS courses, and it's to the north of Bristol. It's a bus ride away if you haven't got a car. It's in the evening, not accessible to everybody. We try and run workshops and courses that are a mixture of free and affordable. And we teach everything from the basics of how to sow a seed up to our year-long Growing Futures course, which is getting people ready to actually turn them into market gardeners. Edible Bristol was created with the climate change and biodiversity loss that 10 years ago we knew was coming, and now it's actually here. So that was our aim, was to give people solutions and make them feel that they could actually do something that was palpable. So a lot of what we do is very soil based. So we always laugh and joke that we're actually soil farmers. We're not really growing veg, but we know that if you grow your soil, you don't actually need to worry about growing your veg, it just gets on with it. So yeah, sustainability is absolutely core to everything we do. At Cultivation Place we have a composting system, so we're not entirely self-sufficient in compost, but we are definitely getting there. We have a composting toilet, we run no-dig beds with the idea that actually no-dig gardens hold on to more water. We do a lot of water collection. We have 8,000 litres worth of water, which we've worked out is enough water for us to not ever have to turn a mains tap on. We do a lot of seed saving and a lot of propagation, partly because obviously that's great and really sustainable, but also because there's nothing better than a plant for free. This garden is created not how we would have created it if we'd have got it all at the same time. So this is 3 allotments, and we got the first allotment first, and then we got the second allotment, and then we got the third allotment. So it's kind of a bit of a sort of dog's leg. We zoned it very much so that we have lots of examples of things that people could do in community projects. So we've got a little garden that is basically a backyard. We've got a very small forest garden, but that gives the idea of how a forest garden works. We've got a lot of annual veg beds, and the reason that we've got a lot of annual veg beds is because we grow a ton of annual veg that goes into the local community and food aid. We have a tree nursery, which is run by one of our volunteers. And then we have nursery beds, which is obviously where we do our propagation and bring things on so that we always have access to new plants. So I think it's really important in any climate for everybody to have basic knowledge of how to grow food. What I don't think is that giving people land, if they're in a position of poverty, and expecting them to grow food is particularly helpful, because it's just another piece of stress to put on top of people. So I think that absolutely growing should be taught from school up to all the way through school. It shouldn't just be primary, it should be all the way through secondary. And I think that we should treat horticulture far more seriously as a career. And I think what we actually need to do is we need to fight for more allotments and more land and more community gardens, so that people who haven't had the opportunity to learn can come along to something where they don't have to commit to kind of 8-10 hours a week, but they can just pop in and pop out. I think that would be an ideal scenario. My hope for the future of community growing is that it just becomes what we all do, that we just acknowledge that there is loads of land out there, and that we could be doing loads more of this stuff, and that whilst it can seem like it's a little bit scary to do this stuff, actually if you don't have a go, if you don't just try and make some change, then who's to know what you've missed out on? So my advice to everybody would be the biggest piece of advice that was ever given to me. It's much easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission.